What's up everyone, Chris here from Mainely Mesh, and today we're going to be talking about what they don't tell you about college lacrosse. It seems like you all enjoyed the video about the 3 biggest mistakes lacrosse players make, so I thought I'd make a video in a similar strain talking about everything they don't tell you about playing lacrosse in college. We actually have a strange system in America of collegiate sports that isn't how most of the world works. Essentially, you typically just go from high school into kind of a semi-pro league or a league that develops you into a professional. And the whole concept of kind of wedding pre-professional sports with college is kind of foreign over there. And as a result, there's a huge pressure, frankly, to play sports in college if you're any good at them. So the whole point of this video today isn't necessarily to push you down one path or another, but more to just kind of give you hopefully a bigger breadth of knowledge about what college lacrosse entails and what your options are. I'm basing this all off of my experience as a D3 athlete, as a club lacrosse athlete, as something a little bit in between, and also just the experiences I've seen of kids I've coached or kids that I've played with over the years. So keep in mind, I am still very young. There's only so much knowledge I have, but I do think I can provide you guys with a little bit more insight than you might get from just a college recruiter. First and foremost, if you get nothing else from this video, I need you guys to understand this. The single biggest thing that is going to affect the rest of your life after college is how much debt you graduate with. I know that's not lacrosse specific, but it's something that is frankly never brought up enough. And we are asking 17-year-olds to make the single biggest financial decision of their life at a time when most of them have no concept of money. I've seen far too many friends face the pressure of getting into the most elite college possible and graduating with over $100,000 worth of debt. And as a result, feel super limited and feel like they have to go in specific fields that they don't enjoy. And it ends up being a really limiting experience instead of what college should be, which is a very liberating and freeing experience that sets you up for the rest of your life. So bear that in mind as I talk about these other aspects of collegiate lacrosse, because there's absolutely an option for you to play college lacrosse at every single budget level. But just to reiterate, if you graduate with the least amount of debt possible, that just opens up your opportunities, which is really all you can do in life. If you graduate with no debt, that gives you the opportunity to, let's say, pursue an art career while being a bartender on the side. If you're graduating with $150,000 worth of debt, you're not going to be able to go down that path. So back to lacrosse. Again, if you hear nothing else from this video, the one thing you need to know is that if you want to play lacrosse in college, you can. I say that regardless of skill level. What that doesn't mean is that every lacrosse player can play D1. That's obviously not the case. But if you want to continue your lacrosse career in college, there are options for you. I started my lacrosse career at Haverford College, which is a kind of middle of the road D3 school, heavily focused on the academics, but I wanted to kind of play lacrosse as well at a higher level. Wasn't really ever looking at a D1 program, didn't want to put that much time into it, and quite frankly, I probably couldn't have made a D1 program, maybe a lower level at best. I was also coming from a small market in Maine that really didn't have any recruiting attention. I blew out my ankle junior year, so I never got any looks. So this was just me walking onto a D3 team and seeing what the heck was up. In my opinion, Division III lacrosse has unfortunately trended towards kind of baby D1 in that they take their programs extremely seriously and try to field the most competitive teams possible. I say that's unfortunate because most athletes who are aiming for good D3 schools could probably play at low tier D1 programs, at least walk on, could definitely play at D2 programs, but they're choosing D3 because they're focusing on academics. D3 schools cannot provide you with athletic scholarships. I'm sure you've heard of backdoor dealings, and I think it's pathetic, and they definitely happen, but on paper, D3 schools are not allowed to give you scholarships based on your athletic skills. So back to the monetary question, if you need help financially with college and you're looking for sports to be that avenue, you automatically have to look at D2 and D1. The nice thing about D2 is there, again, is a wide range of skill levels within that division, so you should be able to find a program if you're at a certain kind of base level of talent that can get you a scholarship and allow you to play at that level while providing you a little bit of financial aid. So back to the D3, I think my frustration was that by choosing D3, I was hoping to emphasize athletics when in reality I was playing upwards of 30 hours worth of lacrosse activities a week between lifts, between study sessions, between film sessions and practice. And that's just not what I was trying to do. I was trying to go to a difficult school academically and also play the sport that I loved, and it just wasn't feasible. Not every D3 program is like that. Not every D3 school is like that, but it's something, quite frankly, that you should ask your coach right away if you're interviewing at a program. Hey, how many hours a week are we doing this sport? How many hours a week do we have activities? What's our off season like? What's our winter program like? You gotta know these things. At the D1 level, you really need to think of that as a full-time job. You're playing your sport year-round. You're putting in at the minimum 20 hours a week, easily 30, if not 40. And if you're at that kind of high caliber D1 program, there's a good chance that you're also moving around your academic schedule in order for you to travel and play all of these games. The travel is something everybody forgets about. You are traveling across the country at those D1 programs, across states at the very least at D3, D3, D2 programs. That's a ton of time used up in your week just to kind of get from point A to point B, and you're expected to handle all your academics on top of that. I'm not going to talk too much more about D1 and D2, quite frankly, because I don't know as much about it. That's not the realms I usually run in. And I think kind of this video is targeted more at people who are just kind of looking at whether they want to play in college at all. The last thing I will say about it though, is that if you want to play at that high level, the single best thing you can do is make sure you are the best athlete possible going into that school. The best athlete on a D1 team is stellar. They are amazing athletes. They are definitely the best of the best. We get that. The worst athlete on a D1 team is okay. My point being, if you have faith in your abilities, there's a decent chance you could walk on to a D1 program, at least onto their practice squad. And I'm saying this, you have to have a very high level of skill if you ever expect to see the field. But we have athletes like Sergio Salcido, who walked on to Syracuse. By the time he's a senior, he's an All-American. It's possible. So if you're skipping the rest of this video and all you're wanting to know is how do I get to play at the highest level, you gotta be good. You gotta be a good athlete. You gotta make sure you got enough in the tank so that you don't burn out. You've played multiple sports, you're smart, you're athletic, you've got good stick skills, you know the deal. Back to the main point of how do I play college lacrosse at all? The most slept on aspect of college lacrosse, and there's great outlets like Lax All-Stars who give it more focus, but the most slept on aspect of college lacrosse is club lacrosse. The sport of lacrosse is a sport that is confined very often by Title IX and its requirements to have an equal number of male roster spots and female roster spots. At D1 football schools that have 100 male roster spots in one sport with nothing balancing it out on the other side, you have all of these women's sports aimed at just balancing out football, and they're never going to be able to balance out a 40-person D1 lacrosse program. What this means is there is an amazing ecosystem of club lacrosse schools who some practice virtual varsity, some practice kind of an in-between, but play pretty high-level lacrosse at some pretty amazing, enjoyable schools to attend. Your kind of Big Ten schools that you think of. Basically any big football school has a really enjoyable club lacrosse team to go with it. What's especially cool about these club programs is that you're oftentimes getting the best of both worlds. You're attending a really fun school to go to, you're playing a sport that you love. The talent level in my experience is still pretty solid. Right now, believe it or not, I still have eligibility. I'm playing on the University of Minnesota club lacrosse team, and it's a kind of solid middle of the road D3 talent level, I would say. It's not an enormous fall off from the D3 schools I played with, and it's definitely a competitive, enjoyable experience. And the best part is we practice twice a week. So we get all the fun of the games and the travel on the weekends and the camaraderie, but you're playing twice a week and you're not kind of expending this, frankly, unnecessary effort and wasting all your opportunity to experience life in the classroom and social life at school and school events and school clubs and all the fun stuff about lacrosse. You're not sacrificing that for the club program. You're just playing your sport, the sport that you love, at a higher level. So that's kind of like your virtual varsity club. There's still a step lower. Last year, I also messed around with a club team locally for a tiny little school that just kind of plays in this kind of fun mess around league. And there were kids playing in these tournaments who had clearly never played the sport before. I'm talking like starter kit setups, new helmets, didn't know how they fit, just out there having a blast. Is the competition level nearly as high? No, but it's club lacrosse. It's older guys. You're at the college level playing the sport in college. And so truly, if you want to continue lacrosse in college, you can. And I need you guys to remember that, because if this sport means enough to you to play at the college level, I think it's very important to remember that you can play there, and then to kind of pick everything else that will give you the best college experience possible. That includes minimizing debt. That includes going to a school you're going to enjoy. That includes making sure you're at a school where you can succeed academically so you can leave with a GPA or enter into the programs that you want to enter into. If you're focused on STEM, you want to make sure you're excelling in your STEM classes. This is a whole kind of Freakonomics segment, but basically you're more likely to work in your field if you can be higher in your class at college. So you want to make sure you're at a school where you can excel. That's a whole other conversation. But what I'm saying is I think we need to look at this process more holistically, because you can include lacrosse if you want to. So again, I can't tell you how to go play for a top 10 D1 school no matter what. And quite frankly, no one can. But what I can tell you is that there is an opportunity for you if you want it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comments down below. I would love to answer them. Also, as always, include ideas for new videos. Hopefully gonna keep chugging them out soon. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Thanks so much. Catch you guys next time.